Hello, good people. I'm glad you're here and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing presses, vertical jumps, and some other strength bits in this workout. We're always starting with our goblet squats, knees over toes. I'm working on dorsiflexion and I'm working on isometrics. You know what it is, it's the classics. Playing around with different ways and orientations to hold the kettlebell. Seems like this by the horns bell down is the best for this particular warm-up exercise. I tell you what, guys, this thing has gone a long way to build mental resilience for me because I don't want to sit with that weight. I don't want to pause. I just want to go straight for it. But practicing, taking the time in each one of these steps, slowly, intentionally, it preps the mind for resilience. Adding in isometrics in the warm-up, big plus, along with the speed and stuff, but we'll get to that later. I'm going to be honest, I don't even remember what week I'm on with this workout in particular because I've gotten really busy and taken a break from doing a lot of the editing and voiceovers. So this footage is from a while ago. So we're all kind of looking at it together with fresh eyes. I've changed just a couple things in the structure of the workouts since, and I'm really excited to show y'all. But for now, we're just going to do a little bit of catch up. I'm going to cover this right here. As of today, when this is actually uploaded, I'm going to be working on a deload week. And then right after that, I'm going to get back to filming so I can clear up some space and everything on my drive. I'll get back to filming whenever I start my next strength cycle again, which is going to be basically next week. So hopefully I'll be able to get on top of things for that as well. Here you can see the poke. Got to add that in there always. Sit back, then down. Squats are really interesting. There are a lot of things going on here that we don't necessarily see. So for example, taking it from the top, the bracing sequence. We root our feet to the ground, which creates an external rotation through the hips. So our femurs are rotating out, which means that on the way down, that's why you see these knees poking out, just like that. That helps us to maintain stability through the hips. And that's just one small thing of many that goes into being able to maintain good body mechanics through these movements. As you learn principles like this, they tend to stick with you through anything that you do. The more you practice it, the less that you have to think about it. And the more you end up thinking about it, kind of cyclically. It's interesting how it feeds into itself like that. Here, I'm not really focusing on rooting my foot to the ground because the movement is kind of complex. We're swinging it around, we're going fast, we've got to keep my balance and stuff. So prepping your mind and your body to be able to do this stuff automatically, like through slow squats in the beginning, helps to keep good form and not get injured and be able to have maximal force output and efficient movement. Moving the way your body is designed to move, basically, with good stability, with good drive, good purpose. Working on the drag and roll, drag and roll, drag and roll. Thank you, David Weck, for this rope technique. Tim's gym is a phenomenal source for info on that as well. Tim Sheaf, the parkour phenomenon. Oh my gosh, this guy goes hard when it comes to body mechanics and different movements and fringe ideas on it as well. So we're going to warm up some overhead press. We've got the bottoms up kettlebell. So this serves very many purposes. I went over this in another video. Holding the kettlebell upside down forces you to have to stabilize the shoulder in a good position in order to keep it from toppling over, Humpty Dumpty style. I used to do a lot of these more weird, quote, functional, in quote, movements in the actual workout itself, until I learned you can't actually, let's say, stress your muscles that you're trying to target for strength in the same way when you're also fighting for stability. So, for example, this right here, holding the kettlebell by the ball, waiter style like this, standing, adding in a Cossack squat, I am fatiguing a lot of different systems here, which means that my shoulder muscles, just those small deltoid muscles right here on the side of my shoulder, if I want to target those for maybe growth, for strength gaining, I have to push those until they are almost at the point of failure. The amount of weight required to do that is much more than I can safely do this version of an overhead press with. Does that make sense? Like here we're adding in a little side squat. I'm getting into really deep positions in this hip range of motion. I'm holding the thing upside down. We're standing while we press and we're keeping our spine neutral. If I was doing this with the amount of weight required to fatigue my shoulder in an overhead press enough to promote muscle growth or even really good strength gains, I would not be able to do all this other funky stuff with it. So we start out the day lightweight, funky positions, have fun with it, touch a lot of ranges of motion that we're not necessarily going to in the workout itself, or that we're not necessarily going to throughout the day, but that we need to maintain and always expose ourselves to. And then once we get into the workout, try to keep it a little bit less funky. But sometimes I just gotta be doing that. Here I just dropped it down to the side and I was like, I wonder what it feels like to swing as if I was gonna jump. Just feel that bottom point of that pendulum swing where the momentum changes to forward momentum, and try to control it. All right, first group of exercises, we've got vertical straight jumps from a seated position and press to handstands. Now, did you see that? Did you see the change in the form, the technique right here? I noticed that each landing that I was previously doing was basically treated as there it is, as like a separate squat. So I wasn't really getting the most out of the exercise. I changed that to using the landing as the opportunity to sit down onto the bench for the next rep. And that seems to, it's not that it fatigues me less, but it's like I am working on eccentrics and also power in the same set, and I don't have to sacrifice much volume for it, as in I don't add too much volume in order to do it. So I think that change right there is going to go a long way for sure, and I'm going to keep on trying it like that and just see how it works. Now, bad news, folks. I had to do my presses naked today. I don't have any steppers. I don't have any boost. It's just straight from the ground. So what you see is what you get right here. All right, see, slow eccentric on the way down, full power on the way up, and we use the landing as an opportunity to sit down for the next rep. This helps me to remember to slow down on the landings, to actually think about absorbing the impact a little bit. I'm going to have to do that anyways on vertical jumps, since I don't have a box to jump to. So in the same mindset as parkour, we're going to use what we have to add something onto it. This set of presses looks a lot better. I'm still trying to pop off the bubble just a little bit for a handstand. I think this is the first time that I ended up using that little bubble for my back as a little support. And we're still doing full press to handstands just because we're working out the movement. We're trying to maintain the skill fully, so I'm not breaking it down into its separate pieces and drills yet. I'm jumping through that first half just to get off the ground. I'm not really concerned with building strength through the press. I just want to expose myself to repetition of the skill itself. It doesn't look too bad. Vertical jump. I'm trying to get the feet together. I'm avoiding using my arms as much as possible. We just want this to be a lower body movement. One day we'll add some weights to it. It's not time yet. Okay, so I'm thinking about how far my feet should start away from my hands. Thinking about pushing down into the ground in order to lift my feet off the ground more. Although I'm still assisting with the jump, I still want to be intentional about the way that I do it. So we're going to lean forward first, push through the ground, and then pop. This time I think I'm actually trying to do the full press, but we just can't achieve it right here. The bubble's a little bit weird to get used to, but essentially I'm just not great at press handstands yet. Not flexible enough or strong. We're almost there though. They're feeling pretty good. Especially now at time of recording, I feel a lot better about these for sure. And we've changed up a little bit of how we do it, so I'm really excited to show you all that. Add in a little jump here. Let's see if I pop off the bubble. Not quite. Trying to go slow on the way down and control the eccentric. There comes a point though where gravity just takes over. As long as the intention is there and I'm trying to slow it down, I think I'm going to get some good strength benefits from that. Here we can get a really good look at how slow this eccentric is. Touch and go. I'm trying not to put any weight on the bench at all. I just want it there to remind me of the point to stop at and the position to be. I want to be in a perfect prep position for a jump, as if I squatted down to jump up to touch like a basketball rim or something, or get a rebound off the basketball goal. That one didn't look too bad, but it wasn't vertical. My body position was good. It just wasn't the right angle. Oh, that was a good one. Popped off the bubble. We've got good spinal position. Stability. Ooh. We fell out of it that time. Always remember, big dog paws on the ground for anything that you do that is hand supported. The goal, spread out your fingers for a wider base of support. Got it? Good. I know I already did a shoulder warm-up for overhead presses, but in the same way that you would do work-up sets for back squats, if I was squatting, I don't know, if my intention was to squat for 5 reps, super heavy, then I wouldn't do just one warm-up set. I would do a couple that increase in weight towards my working weight for the day. So I'm going to do the same with overhead presses. I really just want to do one more, just so I can feel something a little bit heavier before I pick up what's essentially the heaviest thing I've ever lifted for this amount of reps. Boy, why are you bugging out with those eyeballs? What's going on here? It really takes a lot of concentration to keep good form and to think about the muscles that I'm targeting. I used to think a lot more about the positioning itself, but now I'm adding in trying to focus on the muscle action in particular, like adding that in there, really building a good mind-muscle connection so I can start building some muscle in the right areas. Okay, so far we're looking pretty good here. Got good drive going up. Seems super light. I'm trying to be forceful, almost explosive on the way up, but still controlling it by the time it comes to that stopping point. Hit the pause, slow on the way down, pause at the stretch, and do it again. So here, you see that? It's just like the period at the end of a sentence. You don't stop talking, you just pause before the next word. Pairing overhead presses with kettlebell swings. I think I've gone over this too, but the purpose of these supersets is not to increase hypertrophy or to fatigue certain muscle groups. I know that that's really useful sometimes, but the purpose of these is literally just to save time because workouts take a long time and I've got things to do. So I've got to squeeze two things together that aren't necessarily related so that the muscle group that's not working can recover some before the next set. I'm resting 2 minutes at minimum between each one of these sets, and then I'm sitting for a little longer if I feel like my heart rate's still pretty high or if I need to catch my breath or anything like that. Technically, I should be, especially if I'm supersetting this, I should be resting like 3 to 4 minutes between each set of this grouping or pairing of exercises, but ain't nobody got time for all that. We're just going to do the best we can with it. Feels a little heavier this time around. I think I actually added some weight. If you have eyeballs and you were paying attention, tell me if there's more weight now than there was on the first set. It looks like there is, judging by my face. So we'll take that for what it is. Trying to get within about, the standard 1 to 2 reps of failure. Good spinal positioning here. Working the kettlebell swings. I seem like I'm losing it through here, though. You see that rounding in the upper back? That's not necessarily what I want. Obviously, your spine is not a straight, rigid line. There's a shape to it, a little curve. But I want to be able to maintain what's called a neutral spine. So an optimal, let's say, balanced, relatively straight position that you can produce movement off of, right? At the very least, I want it to be consistent. There shouldn't be much spinal movement locally through a movement or through an exercise. So, for example, an overhead press is here. The tendency is to want to arch your back. Spinal extension. So poke your ribs and poke your chest out so that you can push that weight overhead. You see it right there, flaring up just a little bit. The goal, though, even though it's going to happen, the goal is to brace in a wide or let's say, a long arch position from head down to tail. And for it not to squeeze into too sharp of an angle, if that makes sense. So you don't really want to be sticking your chest out like you're a V shape, You want to look more like a bow and arrow. Working just explosively through the hips. And we're done. Hello. Oh no. Listen, I can explain. Rear delt rows, okay? I've never done really good isolated rear delt rows before, but this was my attempt at it. I saw a lot of people standing and hitting this low angle on the bench. Well, mine doesn't sit so high. So if I tried the same thing, this is the result. Listen, this isn't my fault. This is Fitness YouTube's fault. I didn't do it. They did it. I realized later on that I could do this a couple different ways and achieve the same results. Pairing rear delt rows, say that 5 times fast, with leg raises. Simply toes to bar and beyond. So as we get tired, we stop lifting as high. There's a couple different ways I could regress this exercise. Scale it back a little bit. Ooh, I don't like throwing the head back there as much. I'd rather just curve through the low back, but that's okay. I stopped early on that one, I think. He said that's the limit. So here, kind of fixed it. The bench is against the wall because, well, that's where it was for overhead presses. And now you get this. So there's that. My goal is to round the back at the bottom here. Let my shoulder blades split apart and go out. Do the row without them coming together. And then once I reach the top of the row, start to kind of squeeze them together just a little bit. Ideally, my shoulder blades wouldn't move at all. And I would just be using my rear delts to row that. But it's a hard exercise to understand for me in particular. So I just kind of cheated a lot and didn't care much about it. I think I might work that around, play around with it a little bit more later on. It's hard to feel the delts here over the traps. My upper traps are doing a lot of work, so yeah. Maybe it's just the angle. Maybe I need to go lower with the angle or something. I was experiencing the same thing whenever I was just doing this standing as well, so I don't know, man. I got a lot of work to do on it. If y'all have some tips, let me know. I'll try it out. Felt pretty good still, though, to get some of that mid and upper trap work. And I could feel the rear delts here. It's just not like, it's not the only thing that was lighting up. Okay, here's the last set of leg raises and the last exercise for the day. Hey, let me know if this is good to you in some way. Maybe it helped you learn something. Maybe it's just something to laugh at. Maybe it's entertaining. I don't know. Let me know. And likewise, let me know what you're working on in your strength journey. Are you strength training? Are you doing cardio and running, biking, rollerblading? What kinds of things are you guys doing down here? I would love to hear about what you do. But whatever you do, be good, stay strong, and peace be with you.
Need work back there.